What is up, Boxing Voice? We are here to bring you some breaking news, a little quick something for y'all. Mario Munguia, co-host of the Boxing Voice, here with Michael Gross, fellow co-host, and we are going to be breaking down Mayweather's saying, criticize me, not Gervonta Davis, for his opposition. They talked Thursday at a press conference, and Floyd Mayweather made it very clear that he wanted no one else but him to get the blame for Gervonta Davis. So a lot of people in the media have been talking about Gervonta Davis and his opposition. I'm sure Floyd Mayweather has been hearing it, and obviously he was going to be outspoken about it, and he wanted to make sure that nobody else got that blame, and that's reminiscent of his time in the game. So I'm sure that that was definitely a big aspect of it all. So we're going to break that down. We're going to talk about it, talk about whether or not it is fair to blame Gervonta or not. The story is getting a lot of controversy, a lot of talk. And ever since Abnormatis pulled out, we have been putting more scrutiny under it all. But I'm joined with Michael Gross. Mike, what is going on, my man?
Hey, what's going on, man? What's going on? It was a very intriguing story because never really heard Floyd like kind of getting like front of the bullet. You know what I'm saying? Like take blame for something that we all know shouldn't be going on. Like David should be more active. David should be one of the biggest stars in boxing, and he should be fighting regularly. So for him to come out and address the uh the whispers or the yells of criticism about Mayweather promotions is awesome, man. And I really think maybe he's starting to get it just a little bit, and hopefully we can see Davis fight more this year. But we do have some quotes, right, that he came from the boxing scene article.
We definitely do. Yeah. And I absolutely 100% agree with you. The fact that Floyd, as a fighter, he was very outspoken. He did a lot of things that people seem braggadocious, but it seemed like, he was out for himself, and rightfully so. But this is a huge step that shows, as a promoter, he is willing to go to bat for his clientele, for his clients, for his fighters. He's willing to step in front of that bullet, just like you said. And so that shows growth as a promoter. But yeah, we'll break this down real quick. This was originally, if I'm not mistaken, these were quotes from the Thursday press conference.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They were. They were.
So we're gonna go through them real quick. Floyd Mayweather said, every time, and this was about the Ruiz fight, the fact that Abnormatis pulled out and Hugo Ruiz stepped in 10 days before, and so they were talking about, Floyd had said, blame me, blame Leonard Ellerbe, blame Floyd Mayweather Promotions. But he said, every time he has come to me, he being Gervonta Davis, when I say who you want to fight, he say it doesn't matter. So he don't pick and choose. So if y'all want to criticize anybody, criticize me, criticize Leonard Ellerbe, or criticize whoever, but don't criticize the fighter. The fighter's job is to go out there and fight and be the best that they could possibly be. And so obviously he's talking about, the backlash that Davis has been getting. Davis is 24 years old. He is 20-0 with 19 KOs. So I don't know. Before we get to the other quotes, are you buying that? I mean, on one side, I can understand it.
I was
Yeah.
going to ask you a question. Should we give Floyd like a break because he is a newly promoter? He's used to like promoting himself when he did promote fights back in the day. So having new fighters like Badu Jack, having Gervonta Davis, maybe he doesn't have the grasp of a seasoned promoter like Bob Arum, Eddie Hearn, Oscar De La Hoya. You know what I'm saying? That actually knows the. I don't want to say Floyd don't know the business because Floyd made the most money in boxing, but doesn't know necessarily how to push other fighters. You know what I'm saying?
I 100% agree with you. And here's the thing. People would say, no, Mike, no, Mario. Mayweather Promotions been along in the game forever. I think Mayweather started Mayweather Promotions when he was fighting. Oh man, I can't remember. But about 2013 is when they really went out there and they got their own license, because they didn't have a license at first. They were Mayweather Promotions, but they weren't really promoting fights. And it wasn't until the split with Oscar De La Hoya, right when they knew it was going to come, did he really start going out there, because he knew he was going to be able to get PBC fights without Heyman and stuff like that. But here's the issue, though. He was still fighting around 2013, 2014. He was still in the game and he was still looking to make money as a fighter. So when you say that he's a new promoter, I agree that he's a new promoter in the sense that he's only promoting. Now, he has a lot of other ventures and he has a lot of other things that might take his attention away. So that could be an issue. But I do think we got to cut him a little break here, because number one, he hasn't not had to focus on his career that long. You know what I mean? He's putting other fighters ahead of himself because he's not fighting. But two, he's doing the right thing here, where he's putting himself in front of the bullet, like you said earlier. And so I think it shows tremendous growth. And so he's starting to learn the ropes a little bit more. He's starting to learn the PR side of it, all the stuff that Richard Schaefer and Oscar De La Hoya and Bob Arum and all those guys, had learned before.
Yeah, and this is where like I start to kind of question for like these next couple quotes. Let me start it off. I tell Tank this for years. Tank, they criticized me from the beginning. Mayweather said. First, they said the fighters I was the smaller man. Then I was the knockout artist. Then they said Mayweather's not fighting against nobody. And then when I became an older fighter and my body broke down and I was going the distance, they said, "Well, Mayweather don't got the knockout power. What you keep doing is going out there and winning. You fight for your family and your children. That's what's important." See, one thing that I did not like, and I was watching the presser yesterday. He did talk about Tank, but it always seems like he always brings himself into the equation. Talks about his career. Talks about how he came up. Talks about the money Mayweather stage. Talk about the Pretty Boy Floyd stage, and I just feel like every time he does that, he takes the spotlight from his fighters, and I'm not necessarily like a fan of that, but I'd love to hear your opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you. I feel like in this situation, what he's saying is, okay, if you go out there and you start knocking people out, they're going to say that you're fighting bums. If you go out there and you go the decision, they're going to start saying that you don't have power. No matter what you do, they're going to criticize. And I understand that. But Floyd's got to realize that each fighter has a different path. Keith Idec, who wrote the article, he had talked about them wanting to make a Lomo fight. Lomachenko's the big fight. And Floyd has said that fight's not there monetarily. They want to make that fight when the money is right for that fight. And Keith Idec goes on to say that if anyone knows how to build a fight, it is Floyd Mayweather. That said, the problem what you say or that you're saying is that he keeps inserting himself in the situation, and that's a problem because Tank is not Floyd. Tank is not Floyd, and Tank doesn't have
You
the
can't keep comparing all these fighters to itself, like comparing like they're not going to do what you did, man. Like it's going to be tough for any fighter to come and break those kind of records. So for you, for even like the comparison, because Floyd is like the Mount Rushmore of boxing. He's at the very, very top, along with Ali, Sugar Ray Robinson, Sugar Ray Leonard, all those guys. So it's going to be hard for anybody to come and emulate what the success that he's had. So I just don't like when he brings himself into an equation, man. Like we know the greatness you have in you. We know the greatness that you've done for the sport, but sometimes it's time to pass that torch. And you got a guy. I'm telling you, man, you got a guy in Davis that can really carry the sport of boxing. People are not really interested in these smaller weight classes, but for some reason, Davis has that star appeal where people want to see him fight, where he's friends with Drake, where he's going on jogs with Drake. I mean, he's doing things out there that put himself in a position to be the next star of boxing. Only thing Floyd has to do is give him the necessary push and just keep himself out of it just like a little bit. That's all I'm saying.
No, you're definitely right. And I'll finish off the last quote in the article. He said, "Me, myself, if I don't throw another punch a day in my life, I made smart investments. And that's the ultimate goal for us to help you do. Make smart investments on the outside because soon I've been at the top for 23 years. When I was at the top at the beginning, it was none of these writers, totally different writers. They're going to write good about you, they're going to write bad about you. But the ultimate goal is as long as they write about you, that's the ultimate goal." And he's right. He's definitely right. But Floyd's got to understand that he reached a pinnacle after he fought the Diego Corrales of the world, after he fought the Gottis of the world, after he fought the Oscar De La Hoyas of the world. So when they were talking greasy about him, oh, you're not fighting Cotto, oh, you're not fighting Canelo or Mosley or whoever it may be, he eventually got around to those fights. Tank doesn't have any of those guys. You know what I mean? Tank has very few options of a mega fight at this point. So at some point, he's going to have to pull the trigger. He's going to have to take the risk. I don't know if you ever heard or read the Jay Prince autobiography, but in it, he talks about Floyd not
I
wanting to
heard it
fight
was
Diego
good,
Corrales.
man. I heard it was fucking awesome, bro. Sorry for cutting you off.
No, man, it is so good. You're absolutely right. He gives an insight into boxing, but specifically Floyd Mayweather's career, and he talks about the fact that initially Floyd didn't want to fight Diego Corrales, and then he called Jay Prince back, left him like a 45-minute voicemail or something like that, and he was like, "Yeah, Jay, you know what? I'm rocking with you. If you think this is the best fight to take, then let's take it." But he initially didn't want to take it. Risk reward. That's what this game's about.
I'm gonna go ahead and give my final thoughts on the situation. I'm gonna issue a challenge out to Mayweather Promotions. You guys built an incredible star in Floyd Mayweather, so you guys have the blueprint. So let me issue a challenge. Why don't you guys do what you did for Floyd? Like, get Tank on WWE, get Tank on Dancing with the Stars, get Tank on these reality shows, get Tank inside in front of the casual fans' view, so you can build a big star like Canelo, so you can build a big star like Anthony Joshua. Tank has that star appeal. Tank has everything. He has the smile. He has the look. He has everything in order to be a American boxing star. So the challenge is there for Mayweather Promotions, and I really think that those guys have a plan for Javante, but I guess as boxing fans and as boxing um, podcasters, we get a little bit impatient with it. So, big ups to Mayweather Promotions, and hopefully they'll start moving Tank more this year, and we'll be able to see him fight more. Follow me on IG at Gross1911 or on Twitter at Gross2312.
Yeah, man. And I'll finish it real quick by saying that, we've been on the same side here. But the one difference that I'm going to have is before he does the WWE thing, before he does, all those other things, which are great ideas, which definitely, will help his career. I want to see him headline a show. This modest thing would have been great, and it's not his fault, and we can't blame him. This would have been the starting point. So let's redo it. It doesn't have to be modest if it's not modest, but let's find a fighter that can headline a show, give Tank his just due, let him go out there, impress the fans, and that will ultimately get people to start taking notice because the one thing that he does have similar to Floyd is that love hate from the fans. People love to love him, people love to hate him. I'm a huge fan of his, loved him. But at the same time, I hated Floyd Mayweather. I wanted to see him lose. So, that's what it is. But you can catch me at Mario McGee on Twitter, at Mario McGee on Instagram. Thursdays and Sundays, we're live every day at 7 Eastern. We are on Patreon Monday through Friday. And check us out.